Imagine, if you will, games. Unlimited games. But no games. Something has changed in the gaming landscape over the last decade or so that has caused people to lose faith in most AAA releases. And to be honest, it's not hard to see why. Companies who used to make staples of the industry are now shoving mediocrity around the plate like children with unwanted veggies. Ubisoft used to be a $12 billion company, and in the past 6 years of slop, their value has plummeted to just a sixth of what it was. Some studios are starting to realize that they can no longer rely on their past successes to continue to sell games in the future. Other studios are seeing the hard work and success of some and saying to the public, that game was really amazing. But a good game like that should be the industry standard. That's unrealistic. They might be starting to see signs that if they want people to engage with the games they're making, they might actually just have to make something good, and that scares them. Things that used to be impossible or janky, like open-world environments, are now commonplace, for better or for worse. Games like these take a lot of work to make, and development times are starting to become ridiculous. Even if some of these final products do end up being mind-blowing, it isn't sustainable when the majority of them are just average. So in addition to cutting some corners, many have also leaned into more microtransactions, live service, limited time events, dailies, exploiting people's FOMO. This has resulted in a kind of addiction for people where they just don't stop playing certain games. Which I'm not entirely sure if that's inherently a bad thing, but something about this just doesn't seem quite right. The scope of games has gotten so much larger over the years, but the dev teams and testing teams and QA teams have all stayed the same size, as if magically overnight everyone at the company had become twice as efficient at doing their jobs. Or, in actuality, everyone was now expected to work twice as long. But bigger isn't always better, even if that's what a lot of these teams are striving for. There are many 1, 2, or 3-person dev teams that are able to cobble together games that match or even exceed the profits and quality of AAA studios. There's this game on Roblox called Dark Mansion. It was made by a kid named Zeekers in the middle of 2012. It's not particularly good. I would go so far as to say it's bad. It only has 6 likes after all. But as Zeekers grew up, he kept making more and more games. Eventually, he made a game called It Steals that did pretty well. And after that, he, through his Roblox game-making skills as a solo dev, made a little game called Lethal Company. Obviously, doing something like this isn't a guaranteed success, but it's never been easier or cheaper to make a game as a brand new solo developer and have the potential for it to be a massive success. Now, does that mean that every AAA game is absolutely bad? Yeah, only Ubisoft's quadruple A games can save us now. Not so long ago, a game that was released was just the game. There was no updating or patching after its release. You got the game, you played it, and it stayed the same. We now live in an age of, we'll fix it in post. Except for most of these development teams, post is after release. When you, the consumer, have to shell out $70 or $80 or whatever the price is next week for a game, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth when it isn't even the finished product. And don't get me wrong, I would rather have updates for games that I play than not, but just by virtue of updating existing means that a lot of these companies that advertise full products can get away with releasing them unfinished only to maybe fix them later. As long as they turn a profit now, to many of them it doesn't matter. Most of the time, that isn't even the fault of the people actually working on the game. Instead, more than likely, the publisher set the release date of the game to be way too early because delays would cost too much money and upper management really needs that new Marvel Rivals skin. And to be honest, I can't blame them. Alright team, you've got a long, hard road ahead of you, so it's time to crunch. From now, up until the game's release in 6 months, we're gonna be like the only thing worth buying on the Taco Bell menu, for the duration of which you will not see your families. Then, when the game comes out, it still won't be in a playable state, so the friendly people on the internet are gonna offer you some words of encouragement. Then, when the game is finally done, you can go see your families again. Permanently. Because you are fired. Anyway, make that character that you're working on black and gay. It's really gonna be a hit with the pores.
As an industry, we are most powerful when we come together.
This way of releasing broken, unfinished games wasn't always the norm, and you may be asking yourself how companies are even able to get away with this type of behavior, and the answer is looking at you in the mirror. Unless you're at a weird angle where you can't see yourself, but I'm saying it to you. In the book Play Nice: The Rise and Fall of Blizzard Entertainment by Jason Schreier, there are numerous quotes from Activision employees talking about how they are making and selling slop to willing slop eaters. We don't play our games, we don't care about our games, we could be making literally anything, and as long as we put it out every year, people will keep buying it. In a way, I almost respect this mindset. They didn't try and hide their feelings, they didn't try and act like they cared about the games more than they did to try and fit some agenda. They know what they're peddling, they know it's dog shit, and they know most people don't even care and will continue to buy it anyway. This type of mindset has been more common in recent years. Massive acquisitions being made by trillion-dollar companies fueled by greed to try and get a piece of the ever-growing pie that is the largest media industry in the world. These acquisitions have actually started to influence the industry in a similar way to how they've influenced Hollywood in the past, and that is to say, not in a good way. Everything being made by the big companies is incredibly low risk. It's all remakes and sequels and literally the same game over and over, because when you're spending this much money on something, safe and boring is better than standing out and being risky. And even when these companies do take an ever so slight risk, hit the jackpot and make something great, they throw away the ticket because it didn't meet sales expectations. You're Ubisoft. With the slop you've been pumping out, what expectations could you possibly have?
Gaming.
With something like Hollow Knight Silksong, which comes out very soon, and I'll eat my words if I'm wrong on this, is going to be very good, it seems like Team Cherry was able to craft the exact game that they wanted to make with no deadlines. While you may think that because Hollow Knight, the last game they made, was such a big success and made so much money that it allowed them to take their time on this one, that is kind of true, but that game was made by only 3 people. The same 3 people making Silksong, was crowdfunded, and also had no deadline, and to be honest, on release, wasn't that popular. It was definitely a success, but most of the game sales have actually been in the past few years in the hype leading up to Silksong. It's hard to argue with the methodology behind their game development. Considering that it started as just an alternate playable character for Hollow Knight in a crowdfunding stretch goal, it's kind of crazy that it's now morphed into the most wish-listed game on Steam. The game took so long to come out because the devs were having too much fun. It seems like giving yourself ample time to make a game instead of crunching for 2 years straight actually promotes a healthier working environment that results in better games. Damn, that's crazy. Who'da thought? The point of this video is not to say that all current games are doo-doo dog water and it was better back in the day, because it's a lot more complex than that, and it really isn't even true. I don't think it's a hot take to say that games have gotten better over the years, at least in a general sense. But that makes it all the more confusing when former juggernauts of the industry who had built up decades of goodwill in their communities, who should be leading innovation and improvement, who should be putting design first, who should be putting fun and enjoyment before stock value and greed and shareholders, who should be treating their developers fairly, who should care about their games, instead release the sloppiest of all Joes. Something that I have been saying for a long time is that I like it when games are good and do well. Obvious, right? But really, it does not make me happy to shit on games. It does not fill me with hope for the future of gaming when a game with a massive budget fails and the studio behind it is subsequently shut down and the talented individual people who worked really hard on it lose their jobs. Or when a game with a massive budget is a success and the studio behind it is also subsequently shut down.
Gaming.
I can't even imagine being a cog in one of these giant Megatron companies. One day, you're just finishing up work on a super cool character that you've been slaving over for months. You go and tell your boss, hey, it's finished. He says, wow, great work. This is going to make us a ton of money. You're fired. Really? I mean, I guess I get it. This is the video game industry. You gotta make margins, executives, higher ups, another white woman has hit the Marvel Rivals tower, but the person that just finished a character, I mean, come on, it's a bit on the nose. How do you put your all into your work when you know it's a very real possibility that you can get fired literally tomorrow? Last year, indie games made almost as much money as AAA and AA games combined. It was incredibly close. I'm not sure how close it will be this year because Expedition 33 is a game that released and it's classified as the old Energizer Bunny, but also Silksong, so it's a toss-up. If you take away nothing from this video, at least try to understand that a lot of these companies that have been releasing slop have only been doing so because people keep buying it. So the next time you want to whip out your wallet to buy the next Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, or really any other game released by one of these companies, maybe don't. Maybe take a little more care with the games that you select to play. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. I've got more videos to come soon. Ish.